Hello, Yu-Gi-Oh players, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! In Business Casual. I'm your host, the RJB0. So today I am having the duel for my honor. Well, not really. This is, let's see, his name was Edward. Oh crud, I can't remember the second part of his YouTube username. I'm not gonna go and look now. Has challenged me to have a match against his Galaxy Photon deck. At least I think that's what it is. I don't think it's Photon Beat, because Galaxy Photon is the deck that I've been kind of ragging on for a long time, and he wants to prove to me that Photons are a good deck. So we're about to see what's going on. This is his DN username, apparently. And we're going to the duel room. I will be using my Garden Beat deck. It's going to be a match, 2 out of 3. And let's do this. I forgot to get my brother Ali pumping before I started this. So as soon as he accepts, I'm going to hit the hip hop button. I'm going to hit paper because, I don't know, it's paper. And he also gets paper. I'll go for rock. He'll also choose paper. There we go. So it looks like he's starting first. I'm going to open up my iTunes, put on some Brother Ali. Start with Self-Taught. It's a good song. It's my pump-up music. Oh yeah. So I open up decently. I still don't know what this duel is going to end up like. This is live commentary going on right now. So he opens up with a face down. Trap Hole Nightmare is a pretty decent thing for me to start off with. He starts with Photon Sanctuary, which I'm absolutely cool with. He can't do a whole lot with that yet. I was kind of worried about his using Light and Darkness Dragon, because there are Photon Galaxy players that open with that card, and that's kind of a problem for this deck. I do, however, have some things I can deal with that with. So I get a Rabbit, a Prison, and an MST. I'm not particularly worried about getting MST right now. I still don't know whether or not he's running a Photon Beat build, which would use Skill Drain. So I'd rather have the D-Prison since I need something defensive. He does have a lot of big monsters in his deck. So let's hit that Thunderbird button, because that's what this deck does best. And then go into battle phase. And attack over one of them tokens. It's got 0 defense. It's going to hit the Mirror Force. He's going to hit the Mirror Force button, and I'm going to chain Thunderbird. And 2. Let's see. It's unlikely he's going to go for Black Rose. So it may be, well, it may be smart anyway just to set myself some serious back row. I won't set the Mirror Force. I'd rather have something to surprise him with. There's also just the possibility that he finds a way of wiping my field, and I'd like to have a backup, and Mirror Force is a pretty powerful backup. Oh, and this happens. Oh, nuts. I did not prepare for this eventuality. Here we go. Let's hit that torrential button. Yeah, that would have been a really bad move on my part. I'm really glad that he tried to overextend with that Galaxy Knight, because now I'm kind of wishing I'd put that Mirror Force on the board. So he's going to summon 2 more of them Photon tokens, which I'm absolutely fine with once again. I mean, unless he keeps burning defensive cards, there's not a whole lot he can do to protect those from my Thunderbird, who will now come back with 1950 again. And it's still his turn. I'm not sure what's going on here. And it's my turn. So Thunderbird comes back. I suppose I'll duality. I can do this since Thunderbird doesn't special summon itself back to the field. It returns to the field. It's one of the more fun loopholes with Thunderbird and Wind-Up Rabbit. And speaking of Wind-Up Rabbit, ooh, Black Garden. This is a tough choice because Wind-Up Rabbit would allow me to also run over the monsters, the other token, but Black Garden would give me another defensive card that would make Thunderbird even more powerful. I think I'm going to go for Rabbit since it doesn't look like he has any defensive cards set in his back row. So it makes more sense to just hit those Photon tokens hard now, rather than attempting to set myself up for later and hope that he can't attack. I also don't want to have to burn one of my defensive cards in order to keep my field presence. And so I'll hit those tokens and set Mirror Force. And this is going to be a match, so this may be a rather long video. So he ends his turn. I have Dark Hole, which is one of the main win conditions for this deck. It's like card destruction for Chain Beat. I attack with Wind-Up Rabbit, which he does not respond to, and I'll also attack with Thunderbird. There's probably a Gores in that hand, but I do have enough defensive back row. What's he doing in the damage step? What do you want to do in the damage step? $19.50. Thunderbird does retain his 300 extra attack. And he does have the Gores. I am not surprised in the slightest. I could hit the Trap Hole Nightmare button, but I'd rather wait for him to attempt to overextend. And wait to use that for later. And if need be, if he decides not to try to do more than he can do with the hand that he has, I can just hit the Dark Hole button later. And it isn't fun to have to burn Dark Hole on a 1-for-1. Let's see. So I've got 1950. I'm trying to decide if it's worth hitting Deep Prison on that Gores. I'm going to let the attack go through and go for the Dark Hole. I'd rather get rid of both of those at the same time than have to burn 2 defensive cards on them. Let's see, is he going to replay his attack? He does not go for the redirecting of the attack with Gores. So he shifts the token to attack position. Which kind of leads me to believe that he doesn't think I have Mirror Force. So it's really tempting to not hit the Dark Hole button right now. I think I'm going to set my compulsory escape device and see if he likes the idea of overextending. Yeah, I think he's not reading my Mirror Force because I allowed that attack to happen. It's kind of unclear as to whether he is aware that he's allowed to replay attacks. Or whether he just didn't want to risk whatever I might have in my back row. One really popular choice for Chain Beat right now is Memory of an Adversary. Because once you dodge your Rabbit and your Thunderbird, then you'll be open and you can take the damage instead of having that attack come through. and then you can steal their monster, which is pretty cool, but right now I don't really want to do that with Gores. I am going to skip. I do like Atmosphere, but this is not a good time for Atmosphere. Ah, good, more Brother Ali. I needed some pump-up stuff. Well, it's Uncle Sam, goddamn, but whatever. Anyway, shameless plugs for Rhymesayers Entertainment. Great hip-hop group, or record label. That's what they are. They're a hip-hop label. I suppose I can burn the Mirror Force now. In order for his Gores to survive that Mirror Force, he's going to have to lance it or dress it. And if he dresses it, I can just chain Thunderbird and I won't have an issue. So he allows the Mirror Force to go through, which is not really a surprise. He's going for Galaxy Zero. This will be interesting. So that monster's attack becomes 0. And if Galaxy Zero leaves the board, then that monster's attack, or then that monster gets destroyed. You can destroy this card instead of destroying that. Alright, so its attack is 0. I'm totally alright with this, so I'm just going to no fear attack it with Thunderbird. Equip monster's attack becomes 0. Yeah, we're good. Galaxy Zero is a really good card for this deck. You have to really know. So Galaxy, sorry, I got distracted by Brother Ali. Ooh, I didn't read that clause. I will hit the compulsory escape device button. That was a bad choice. If he has a problem with that, that's absolutely fine. It was a bad mistake on my part. And I do have another Thunderbird loaded up. I've always read Galaxy Zero incorrectly. And you know, once again, if that's a problem, it's fine. But like I was saying earlier, Galaxy Zero is a really good card. It's an even better card now that I realize what it can do. Because you can activate it if you have a Galaxy Knight in your hand, and you can bring back a Galaxy monster from your grave. And then it allows you to summon your Galaxy Knight, and then be able to get its effect without using up a Photon Thrasher from your hand or something like that. So I put myself kind of under a deficit here because I really shouldn't have had to have done that. It was just a poor decision on my part to attack with that Thunderbird, not knowing what Galaxy Zero does. So he hits another Galaxy Zero, which once again I am totally cool with. Because right now what he has to bring back is... So he doesn't have any targets for Galaxy Zero. I'm just going to let him know that he keeps it in his hand. Since he has no targets, he can't activate the card. So it can't go to the graveyard because he couldn't have activated it in the first place. It's kind of like how you can't activate a compulsory escape device if you don't have any monsters on your side of the field. Since it doesn't fulfill the activating conditions, which would be targeting a Galaxy monster, then he can't activate it. So, since I know he doesn't have a Gores, I'm just going to go balls walls and smack him with my Wind-Up Rabbit and Thunderbird. So far, my theory about galaxies is proving to be you know, it's standing pretty solid, you might say. So he hits the Trigodia button, which I'm just going to respond to by setting another Forbidden Lance and ending. I'm not sure why I'm running so many Forbidden Lance right now. I just recently got back into Chain Beat, and I was studying up on some decks that have won previously, so I wanted to try out Forbidden Lance as a tech choice. And he can't chain to damage, but, you know, whatever. I'm the guy who attacked into a monster that had Galaxy Zero equipped because I thought it made its attack 0. But, you know what? C'est la vie. Everybody makes mistakes. Yeah, so I suppose that a Galaxy deck could create a decent engine surrounding Photon Thrasher and Galaxy Wizard, Galaxy Knight, and Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. But really, all in all, that was just a terrible choice on his part. Because Thunderbird now stays on my side of the field because Trigodia loses its target. Ooh. Take Me Home by Brother Ali is on now. Anyway, as I was saying, Galaxy Wizard, Galaxy Knight, Galaxy Zero, Photon Thrasher, and Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon together. Those, along with maybe one Light and Darkness Dragon teched and a couple of trade-ins and stuff, those can make a decent engine. I wouldn't say that they're anywhere near being, you know, they aren't like regional or YCS topping material, but it's not terrible. But anything that tries to go for like Axle Light or what's that, the Galaxy Expedition or whatever, that's just where you go over the edge as far as usability. So I can't attack because his Trigodia still has 2400 defense, which is kind of a big ass for my Thunderbird to try and go over. Right now I'm just waiting for him to try and make some kind of mistake, either attack me, or put another monster on the board. And now I have Black Garden, so this is where things get fun. I'm going to hit the Black Garden button. I'll allow him to stall for another turn. The more he stalls, the more backup I get. Trigodia is a really good move for him right now. It must be like the relatively low field presence that Galaxy Photons keep, that he keeps so many cards in his hand, which means that Trigodia is actually a really good choice. Same with Gores. One thing I might suggest if you're trying to run Galaxy Photon, and I just totally forgot what I was thinking about. I'll get back to you on that. In all reality, as far as Photon decks go, Photon Beat is actually a pretty darn good one. It can make use of Skill Drain, which is a really powerful choice. It can also use, let's see, Black Garden can't have its attack, but it can special summon a token. But yeah, Photon Beat is actually a very good deck. I reviewed it a long while ago. Just anything with Skill Drain always seems to go pretty well as far as anti-meta, and especially since they have Photon Trident, which allows you to, it basically turns into the Photon Beat version of, what's it called? Nuts. Of, what's it, nuts. Horn of the Phantom Beast, that's what it's called. I just held my headphone up to the mic. This is why I don't do a whole lot of live duel coverage. I can never think of what to say in the video while it's happening. So Garden's effect goes off, hitting the Gem Knight Pearl down to 1300, which is not a good figure for Gem Knight's abilities. Really, if you're playing against Black Garden, you go for effect monsters, because you're never going to beat me by battle under Black Garden. He could. He is attacking my Thunderbird, which I will allow. I'll just give him the heads up, since he apparently doesn't know. Since this is supposed to be a duel between our decks, not necessarily us as players, I would rather remind him that Black Garden it halves its attack, so that it's more of a test of our decks. Because my point with this video is to prove my thoughts on Galaxy Photon, which is that it's not a competitive deck, which is an argument that I've been having with a lot of people on my channel, and he decided to challenge me to this by playing this match against me. I think when we go into side, I'm going to make a Duel 2 video for this. That would be... Yeah, it would be a Duel 2. I'll put it down. It will be kind of archival. It won't be necessarily an academic thing, but it will prove Duels 2 and 3, if we have a third duel, will prove whether or not Galaxy Photon is relatively competitive. Yeah, I'm going to allow him to pass up on that attack because, once again, this is a matter of dueling our decks and not necessarily each other. And Brother Ollie is getting less of a pump-up music because Morning in America is just a depressing song. Y'all should check it out anyway. It's really cool. Good stuff. So he passes turn to me. I'm going to hit that MST button, target his face down back row. At this point, I'm pretty sure the game is essentially over. I'm not sure. He still could potentially have a Tragodia loaded up in his hand. Whoopsie. There we go. So I'm going to attack over that Gem Knight Pearl with Thunderbird, who still holds his full 1950. I'm going to remind him that Thunderbird still has 1950, so he would take another 300. And in all reality, that's essentially game. Because, well, unless he could have a... He gains 300 attack, so we would take an extra. I totally forgot what I was thinking about because I was distracted by the awesomeness that is Brother Ollie. So this is essentially game. Unless he has another OTK stopper like Tragodia, then it's pretty unlikely that he's going to be able to come back from this. And then we'll just go into game 2, which I think I have covered. As far as side deck, I'm not going to side heavily against his deck. All I really need potentially are MSTs. And then I'm going to attack with my last Rose token for game. And so that's Duel 1. I hope you guys enjoy. Meanwhile, this is the RJB0, and I got a jet for game 2.